I'm going to use the handheld mic. Can you hear me? Welcome to using essential oils to enhance our athletic performance. I had to double check the spelling really quick. So this is my husband, Brett. He has been really involved in fitness for a long time. So he's done different things for himself, and he's actually went and got certified or went through the schooling to become a personal trainer. So I'm really lucky to have him here today, because when it starts to come to technical questions on physiology and how it all works, that's not me. But if you have questions about the essential oils and how it can affect the body, that's more my style. So we're going to co-teach this today, so bear with us. He wants to start off with the presentation, and then we'll just kind of work me in.
Is mine on okay, or? All right, I'm gonna write a few bad words on the board, so don't get offended here. Okay? All right, there's one. All right, pretty offensive words. All right. When we think of these, we think of negative connotations most of the time, don't we? Like, that's just too hard. I don't want to do that. Too much effort's involved. Too much internal motivation it takes. So if I was to ask you to raise your hand, how many are on a diet right now? So everyone should have raised their hand. Because whether you're on a diet or not on a diet, you're always on a diet. It's whether it's a good one or a bad one. No matter what you eat, you're on a diet, right? So it's whether it's healthy or whether it's bad, and that's your choice. And Caitlin can help me with this with Dr. Elmer, right? You're always on a diet. So don't think of diet as a bad connotation. Think of, this is how I eat. Now, do I want to change how I eat? Is up to me. And that's the hardest part. Exercise. How many of us are getting enough exercise daily? Right? You hands might go up. When I say, are you getting enough exercise, that's a vague word, right? What does that mean, getting enough exercise? So when I say that, what do you think of getting enough? A routine. Okay. Daily, frequent.
No pain, no gain.
So if you work with
pain, if you work with Brett, you're gonna be in pain.
I feel like enough to support your lifestyle that you're looking for.
Okay, we'll do that. There's a frequency and a regularity to both of these things that need to go hand in hand. If you're on the diet like most of us and most people I know, you're on the seafood diet, right? You eat seafood, you eat it. That's the diet that we all like. Now, if you could just eat anything you want, your body would metabolize it, and you would stay the way you want it. I mean, now we're talking. That's what we all want to have, right? But our bodies just don't work that way. Because our bodies are like an engine. It only works off of what you put into it. And so if you put good things into it, it'll run properly. If you put bad things into it, it likes to struggle, and it doesn't know what to do with those things half the time. So that's where exercise and diet comes into play. And these things have to go hand in hand. And I know that a lot of people will be like, well, what if I just exercise really hard, then I can do whatever I want? Does that work? I tried it. I've tried it 100 times. You know what? I'm just going to work out for 3 hours a day, but I can eat whatever I want. And it just doesn't work because you're battling yourself. And that's what makes it so hard. So what we want to talk about is this pyramid on wellness.
You're not familiar with this, are you?
So we've only seen this a few times, I'm sure, and a lot of it has to do with your lifestyle and what you're going to pick as your lifestyle. And what's the very first one?
Eat right.
Which is the hardest one?
Eat right.
Why? Why is it so hard to have the bottom one do what we want it to do? Why do we struggle? We want it to be easy? Absolutely.
That's true. This is so easy.
Convenience, right?
Cost.
Yeah.
It's cheap. Yeah.
Cost, taste, right? All those things that are good for us. Taste.
Salad dressing is a lot quicker than
Okay? If it was easy, then everybody would do it, right? It just takes that little bit of motivation, that little bit of internal motivation that you need to have, that internal discipline. To say, how important is it to me to eat right? And then it's up to you. So we're not here to judge each other or judge, ourselves on this, but it depends on what your goals are, what your personal goals are, what your family goals are, of what you're going to do. Now, the hardest thing, I think, is to meal prep. By
Yeah.
far. Because if you do it right, you meal prep for the whole week, and then it's just done for you. If you try to do it per meal, it takes forever. You're talking 30 minutes, you're trying to meal prep for a 30-second meal. And you're thinking, man, what a waste, right? It just gets too difficult. So there's some preparation that needs to be involved if you want to get that right. Then we get into exercise and some of the benefits of exercising. We want to go into those now or through the slides. You guys have your sheet, right? The 1 through 7. That's for you to take and keep with you. And we're going to just kind of go through these as we go throughout the presentation. So we'll kind of hit them as we go through. But can anyone name me just a couple benefits that exercise would give you? Exercise alone.
Energy.
Helps you sleep.
Helps you sleep, right? Because you're probably exhausted from doing the exercise. Gives you energy throughout the day.
You feel proud of yourself.
Accomplishment, right? Absolutely. There's sometimes where I'll work out different people and they don't think they can do it. And what's the one thing I tell you, Mom, when we're working out?
Oh,
Remember?
just keep doing it. You think you can't, but you can.
Your mind will stop you long before your body gives up. Almost in anything you do. It's amazing what the body can do, truly. It'll heal itself. It'll get stronger. It'll do some things you can't even imagine what you do. But your mind will stop you long before your body gives up. And you have to remember that. And so when you're exercising, if you're by yourself, that's one of the hardest things to do. Stay motivated. Push yourself beyond what you think you can do because you will quit on yourself long before anybody else does. So if you have a partner or somebody you can work out with, somebody that has the same goals as you, that helps because they won't let you give up and then you won't let them give up. And it helps that way. What are some other benefits of exercising? Tones muscles. Stress release, absolutely. Tone muscles. Do you know what tone muscles actually do for the metabolism? It increases it. It burns more. Yeah. Muscles use more energy than fat does. Fat's sitting around like you think fat would, just hanging out. Just keep feeding me. I don't need to do anything. Muscles like, no. We need to keep moving. I need more food. I need more to do more for you. So it increases the metabolism. What about the joints? It does build bone mass. That's right. And what's the biggest thing for older women?
Osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis, right? So it helps promote healthy bone mass and it increases bone mass. Why? Why does it do that? Do we know?
Well, because your bones they're living.
They are.
It's not just like a rock inside your body. And so
Hi.
with more work to do, it gets stronger like a muscle.
It does. So as the muscle grows and builds, it has to be supported by something. So the bones have to go and grow with the muscle so that it can support the muscles we're putting on. Now, there's a lot of women in here tonight, and if you think of working out, you think of weights and different things like that. There's a misconception that if women work out with a lot of heavy weights, they're going to become bodybuilders. That is absolutely false.
That's what I thought.
That's what Kelly thought for a long time. I said, you can work out for 10 years and you're never going to get to where they are because you're not on the same program. You're doing different things. Half the time it's steroids to do that because women aren't built that way. You can still lift heavy, lift weights, and be toned at the same time. Okay? It lubricates the joints. So when you exercise, you're moving the joints and you're lubricating those joints and the synovial fluid that's within those joints where the skeletal system is intact. When I say the word mobility, what do you think of? Movement, right? Range of motion. What was this?
Yes, she is.
Okay, the ability to move.
Being happy, yeah.
Okay.
Flexibility.
There we go. That's what I was looking for, was flexibility. We think of mobility as just moving, but it's how far can you move a certain joint? So how flexible are you? What does flexibility do for us?
Allows you to check for traffic.
You'd be surprised how mobility and flexibility either hinder your life or it enhances your life. How it helps aid in healing or how it hurts it. So as you guys are sitting there, we're going to try something real quick. Okay, so you can just set whatever you have in your hand to the side. Okay, we're all in our car, right? You got a steering wheel. You're going to look over your right shoulder, but you can't take the steering wheel with you. Okay? So you're going to stay and you're going to turn, and you're going to keep turning and keep turning as far as you can. Turn your eyes, turn your nose to the right, look over your shoulder, really turn it, crank it, keep those right arms forward.
How many of you can look at me?
Keep looking towards Kathy as best you can. You're going to hold it for just a second. Keep turning until you can't think no more.
You turn your own body.
Relax and come forward. Okay. Did you find the spot that you were looking at and can remember that? One more time. You're going to go past that spot now. Okay? Hold your hands up. Turn your head all the way around and go past this point, that point you were looking at. Turn your head until you can get past it with your eyes.
Look at that.
All right, come on forward. How many of you actually increased, even if it was just a little bit? Okay? First you thought you were stuck, and wait, I can keep going. Okay? We're going to the left. We don't want to be imbalanced. Nothing worse than being in an imbalanced position, right? Dr. Elmer would have my hide if I knew that I wasn't going both sides. So we're going to go to the left. So forward, go to the left as far as you can. Pick a spot somewhere. Memorize that spot. Really crank the neck muscles. And not turn the body, and then come forward. Relax for a second, take a deep breath. And then we're going to go one more time left and go past the spot you were at. Really turn it and go past that spot. Get those eyes and nose going past that. There you go. Come forward. Okay? Where do we hold all our stress most of the time? Always, right? Everything. We're like this, we're tense. Half the time we're like this, bending down, right? At an office. And so this is where posture comes into play, right? A lot of times we see people with hunched over backs, and they only get worse over time. So we need to really stand up straight. Pull your shoulders back so your shoulder blades come back, your chest is out. And you ideally want your ear to come down to your shoulder and your chin comes back so you're in a proper spine and your spine has a slight curve in it. Okay? That would be a good posture to be in. But you sit there after 2 minutes going, oh man, my back's sore. I'm working out right now. Right? Because we haven't done it for so long. But this is going to aid in a lot of healthy habits for you later on. So you don't get that little turtleneck back here and you start hunching over. It gets worse for you. It hurts with vision because I'm down now looking up like this and I'm straining. We want to make things a little bit easier in our life for us, right? Okay. Those are the basic benefits of exercising. And we know the benefits of eating right because doTERRA has talked about that many times, it comes with a base. So then you have to talk about rest and management stress. How important is sleep? How many of us get enough sleep? So like no, hardly, okay, a couple hands. Okay, what's enough for you guys?
8 hours.
8 hours? Okay. They say recommended is 8 to 10. Those who are getting 6 and less, you're just hurting yourself.
I just wake up naturally, and that shows me I've got enough sleep because I just wake up naturally.
You feel good about it, right?
A lot, yeah.
That's good. How many gets less than 6? Hey, raise your hand. You get less than 6. Sometimes life gets in the way. No big deal. Do you see that it affects you? How?
Well, I get tired faster or earlier in the day,
Right.
but yet when I get to bed, when it's bedtime, I'm not, I don't know, it's a catch-22 kind of, you know what I mean? And I get up at the break of dawn, I swear, it doesn't matter, if the sun's coming through, and I just can't go back to sleep, so. But yeah, it makes the day kind of.
It drags, huh?
Yeah, it does, but if I sleep too long, I just feel so groggy, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe it's just that I need to catch up or something.
A lot of it has to come to do with mental. If you're not getting enough sleep, your
6
brain
or
won't
less.
shut itself off. Right? So we need to be able to shut that brain off and calm ourselves. So talking about oils, what are we going to use to calm ourselves at night to help get that sleep that our body needs, even though our brain says, I don't need it?
Serenity.
Cedarwood.
Okay. So there's many oils to use, right? It's finding whatever combination works best for us. What are we going to? How are we going to apply it at night when we're ready to go to bed? Diffusers one way. What's another? A
Spot
back?
your feet.
That's real nice, yeah.
Spritz
Well,
it.
Rub your feet.
there we go, feet. Why feet? Then no, why feet?
Because the pores
All the nerve
are,
There we go. Okay, what'd you say?
the pores on the bottom of your feet are really big.
They're the biggest pores you got, right? So they're gonna infuse quicker. So that's gonna aid in that just a little bit better. Plus, who doesn't like to have their feet rubbed, even if you're doing it yourself?
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I'm going to bed, right? Okay. Sleep also aids in muscle production. So if you start getting on a good diet and you start exercising, your body needs to rest because your muscles grow not when you're working out. They grow when you're sleeping, when you're resting, when you're recovering. You're actually tearing them down when you're working out. Tear them down, build them up. You need that rest. Your body needs that rest to do what it needs to do, to recover from the stress you put on it every day. Toxic load, reduce toxic load. One quick one, and then I'll let Kelly take this one. Toxic load, where do we get the toxins from? How are we getting toxins into our bodies? Right?
Everything.
The list would be too big if we just started writing things down.
Food, air.
How are we going to reduce that? What does doTERRA have that will help us reduce toxins?
Cleanser to help cleanse.
There's one. So what's that called? Xenocrin, GX, BB Assist, right? So there's some products that we can use to help do a cleanse. Has anybody done the GX Assist or the GX and the PD Assist before and done it?
I want to, but I haven't.
You want to, but you haven't?
You're right.
Any experiences with that?
Is it a cleanse that they have?
It's very gentle. It's not like going on other cleanses I've tried in the past where you know you're on a cleanse. It's very doable.
Kathy?
We ended up having to do the body cleanse for a whole year because my husband Rick, his seasonal threats that got to him were so bad that he really had to clean that gastrointestinal tract because the neural fibers in your intestine are more than what's in your brain, and he was getting the wrong signal there and couldn't fight them off, and it took us a whole year to do that. But that's a good one, and it's a natural way to do it.
What, PB Assist, you mean?
GX. It's actually there's a whole regimen of products.
Oh, whole regimen. What's GX?
It's the cleansing part
Oh,
for your gastrointestinal tract.
okay.
But those are all really good suggestions for getting rid of toxins, but how do we avoid them?
Build up our immunities to them? I mean,
Use green cleaning.
So use products that are more natural, right? So your cleaners, your makeup, your shampoo and conditioner, your toothpaste, and then of course diet is a huge part of it. If you're eating anything that's processed, you've got contaminants, you've got toxins going into your body. If you're not, even if you're buying vegetables at the grocery store, if they're not organic, you've got pesticides. So those are toxins. So there's lots of things that we're doing on a daily basis that are putting toxins into our body. And some of those we can actually work on avoiding by reducing the types of products that we're using that have those kind of toxins in them.
How many of you have gone through just a span of just bad eating, month, 2 months, terrible? Then all of a sudden you decide, you know what, this is dumb. Why am I doing this? Let me get right and let me start eating good for a month or two. And have you noticed that difference in almost everything? Your skin, the way you feel, the way you act, the way you hold yourself. You stand just a little bit, you smile a little bit more. Like
My brain works.
you absolutely the way your brain works. You just be surprised how much the brain has to do with everything you do yourself. 1% better at eating. You know what? I'm getting ready to have a chip. I see a carrot. Oh, let me go ahead and just have the carrot today. And just work on that way. And then see if that can't help you do that. But it's too tough to say, I'm going to meal prep for a whole week. I'm going to eat this way. I'm going to go cold turkey. It's too hard. Try to do it one thing at a time. Reduce one meal at a time. Or break your meals. Say, you know what, instead of this portion, let me cut it in half and I'll save the rest for another time. If you do them small, small increments will get you a lot further than no increments. It's better to start somewhere than to just stay where you're at, right?
Okay, so where does this even have anything to do with athletics, right? We're just talking about health and fitness. Well, all of it has to do with athletics, because if you don't have your body in a position with the right diet and the right exercise and the right amount of sleep, all the essential oils in the world are not going to enhance your performance. So you have to have a good basis if you want good athletic performance. So let's talk about the essential oils for just a bit. What is an essential oil? So they are the natural aromatic compounds found in plants. They are the plant's natural defense. They are steam distilled or cold pressed, depending on where you're getting it from, the part of the plant you're getting it from. They are powerful, safe, and they don't have the side effects that medications have or pharmaceuticals or over-the-counter products have. They're highly concentrated, 50 to 70 times stronger than the plant themselves, than the herb. So there are many, many, many different types of oils, right? Different grades. So the biggest one is our synthetics. So they do have synthetic essential oils, not just plant-based. And you'll find those in perfumes. You know, your scented lotions, your grapefruit peel lotion, or your vanilla scrubs, or things like that. Commercially sold, cheap, easy to buy, readily available. They're all synthetic. Those are toxins that we can avoid, okay? Next grade would be our food grade. This one is actually graded by the FDA. It's GRAS, generally regarded as safe. These are going to be things that you find in your food. So lemon extract or peppermint flavored candy canes, okay? Those aren't true plant-based products, but they're not fully synthetic. They're they could be either or depending on the company or the manufacturer that's making the product, okay? But they're sad. The US says we can eat them. Therapeutic, meaning that they have been distilled for therapeutic purpose. There are many different grades of therapeutic. A lot of the companies out there selling essential oils in your Whole Foods and Sprouts, they claim to be therapeutic, but they do have fillers mixed in. That's how they can keep the cost low. So you have to be careful on what you do as far as skin and ingesting. They say aromatic is fine, but anything you breathe is coming into your body as well. So you're essentially putting some toxins into your body. And then we have doTERRA's therapeutic oils. They have gone through a whole testing standard that makes them certified pure therapeutic grade. So what does that mean? Number one, it means that they're pure. They're all natural, no artificial ingredients, fragrances, or fillers. So they're 100% no toxins in them, okay? They're safe because they're free of the pesticides and any other chemical residues. One of their main requirements to their growers are that they have to be grown pesticide free. They're potent, so they have all of the active compounds needed for the therapeutic purpose that doTERRA is looking for. They are consistent, meaning that when they test it, they make sure that each batch of oil distilled from each distillery matches the batch before. So then you can be assured that your consistency with your use, that if your lavender takes away your head tension, that next time it's going to take your head tension again. It's not going to be a different batch that has, because climate, when it's distilled, all these factors can make a difference. How much rain or how little rain can make a difference in the chemical constituents. And then, of course, doTERRA has their compact sourcing, co-impact sourcing, which means they go directly to the farmers and they help them set up these little co-ops and they cut out the middlemen. So there's one, less influence from something being added in, right? And then two, they're actually helping people all over the world. These small little distilleries and growers in these third world countries have been in a situation that they aren't always paid for their oil when they distill it, when they sell it to a third party. And they're only paid when they actually send a batch. doTERRA goes in and they actually set them up on payment plans. They put them on a year-round, I'm going to pay you on a kind of salary basis if you continue to provide us with the quality essential oils we need. So they, in fact, get all their money and they've got something that's consistent for their families. Now, essential oils can be used in 3 different ways. We've already kind of covered that. But when you're talking about athletics, you can also use them all 3 different ways. And we'll get into that. Of course, you may want to dilute depending on the area you're covering for the purpose that you're covering it for, or if it's a hot oil. So athletes are using essential oils. Question. Do you think they are? They are. There is Olympic athletes. There are college athletes, professional athletes, high school kids. My kids use them. Club sport kids. So there are many, many athletes that have discovered how these things can change their performance.
So if you're thinking out in yourself, okay, how does this apply to me? How many of you know somebody who is in athletics at all, in any way, shape, or form, that could use this? So they're in a, like, who's in it?
My teacher,
Your teacher
I work with, yeah.
is what?
He always works out.
Okay, just working out. So who else got another one? They said they know somebody.
Well, my kids and my husband play softball.
Softball,
Yeah,
okay,
so
perfect.
My husband uses deep blue.
Our whole baseball team uses deep blue.
My daughter swims.
Swims, okay. So you think about different activities and different people who are athletes. What kind of causes or ailments would athletes have? Muscle pain? Okay. So we'll start with muscle pain first. What can we use for muscle pain? Deep blue is one.
Lemongrass?
Lemongrass is another.
Wintergreen,
Wintergreen,
white fir,
white fir.
frankincense.
There's quite a few, right? As you start thinking about it. Okay, who else said something else? Soreness, or who said something?
I said soreness.
Soreness. Okay, let's talk about muscle soreness, joint soreness. What do you want?
Muscle.
Muscle. Okay, what do we do for him? Got muscle soreness.
Deep blue.
Deep blue,
Basil,
basil.
marjoram.
I got margarine in the kitchen, but it doesn't work very well.
I don't use margarine.
What else we got? Muscle soreness. You had said it earlier. Remember? You said
Oh,
one?
lemongrass?
No?
No,
Bath.
I said something.
Lavender.
Lavender?
Bath.
In the bath.
Bath? What are you going to put in a bath? Who used to use Epsom salts back in the day, right? What are we going to add to it?
Yep,
Oils. Which ones you want?
yep.
Lavender.
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 Aroma touch.
Right? Think about what you're needing, so sore muscles, and now let's think, okay, what oils will aid in that, help recover that.
Lemongrass was the word?
So there's all kinds that are in there to use, right? We use lemongrass specifically for joints. So since my son's a pitcher, we're always worried about his elbow or shoulder. After every time he pitches or before he's about to pitch, we make sure that he uses lemongrass and deep blue afterwards as a treatment and as preventive maintenance. And he's been pitching for 2 years and we haven't had any problems yet.
I was
Go ahead.
going to mention, the coach came up to me and he asked me, what is your protocol after you have him do a pitching session? After he's pitched a full game or a really long bullpen, what do you do for his arm? Do you ice it? What are you doing? I says, we just apply the essential oils. And he asked, what are essential oils? I told him what they are. He's like, well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Because he's finding that it's been very beneficial to see McKeer not have any injuries, where some of his other pitchers can pitch a full game and they're out for weeks. Like they have got a lot of problems with their shoulders. So it's made a huge difference for post.
Do you find benefits with the lemongrass for the ligaments and tendons also?
Right, that's why we use them for that joint, because of the ligaments and tendons there. And we know the difference between ligaments and tendons. What is a ligament? What does it attach?
Next two bones together.
Bone to bone, ligaments. Tendons, bone to muscle. Okay, that's the difference. The easiest way to think of it is the Achilles tendon attaches your calf to your heel, bone to muscle. Okay, and you think of tendon. Then the other one's the other way. All those football players that get ACLs and MCL hurts, they're crossed ligaments within the knee, and they get torn out that way. Ligaments. Okay, so lemongrass is very good for aiding in ligament structure, ligament health, just repairing itself. So we use lemongrass for joints because at the joints is where your ligaments and tendons are at. So that's what we use.
What about, what could you do preventively to avoid muscle cramps? Like if you get from hiking or running long distance where you get really cramped up muscles?
For cramping muscles, so what have you used, Kathy, for cramping muscles?
Lemongrass and quit eating white sugar.
There is a recipe in your handout specifically for cramps, but I found a lot of people will get relief from Aroma Touch because it's usually that muscle's kind of spasming, and the Aroma Touch essential oil can actually release that. It's known as massage blend, and it's that massage in a bottle. So my go-to would be Aromatouch oil.
Is there something you can do preventive though?
A lot of times, if you're getting the cramps in the same area, one, that means there's probably a weak spot in that area. So we need to build that spot back up. And then two, we go back to mobility and flexibility. A lot of times that muscle is too tight and we need to just pre-stretch it out and get it ready for the work it's about to do. A lot of times when we go do a sport or an athletic event, we just go jump in and do it. Do we prepare 2 days beforehand? No. 30 minutes beforehand, maybe. You might just, oh yeah, that feels good, and I stretch and I go. Well, that doesn't do anything. If you know you're gonna go run a marathon, you have a certain way you're gonna eat, you have a certain way you're gonna train before you go do it. And a lot of people don't, and they'll skip those parts, and so then they'll have the after effects of it.
Brett has us doing foot, whatever they're called. You know how you go on our toes and we come like this and flex and flex and flex and flex to stretch out those, right?
Yep. So that's just part of the mobility. We'll do a whole stretch session of just straight mobility. How many have done yoga before? I love yoga. It's the hardest thing in the world to do. I'd rather go bench press for a while than do yoga because it is difficult. It is hard to do, but man, it has so many benefits. You're talking about breathing earlier. You don't breathe right in yoga, you're going to be stuck somewhere. You're going to be like, oh, I can't do this anymore. So there's certain ways to breathe, proper ways of breathing, better than others. So yoga is another way to do that and aid
And
it.
the hot yoga, really, I mean, I could get relaxed before I even start doing yoga if you're doing the hot yoga. You know what I mean? Because you get in that
Right.
room and it's like, seems like things move better already, you know?
You know, speaking of hot, let's go into real quick about hydrotherapy, hot and cold. Okay, you can use oils, hot and cold, right? And there's certain ways to use hot and cold. Tell me why we would use, when people say, you know what, you got hurt, go ice it. Why?
Keeps the inflammation.
Right. If you got hurt, right, we're reducing inflammation. Well, let's go back to the picture. What if he just threw and now he's done throwing and you see all these ice things on him, or the NBA players who are halfway through a quarter and they got ice on their knees? Why are they putting ice? If ice reduces inflammation and I don't have inflammation and I'm not hurt, why am I using ice? Does ice prevent something? If you're not hurt, you want to reduce inflammation, but the inflammation's not there. If you think about what ice does, it slows down blood flow, right? I'm slowing down blood flow to an area because it's hurt, it's inflamed, so I'm icing it. If I want to do preventive maintenance and I'm just using a healthy area that I want to protect, why not use heat? What does heat do? Draws blood to the area. Blood brings nutrients. Nutrients bring what we need for our cells, right? So if you, for example, what we'll do, and it has a different effect. So if I take peppermint and I add heat to it, what does it do?
More blood. I mean,
It drives it in further, right? Because it brings more blood to that area. So we'll put peppermint, lemongrass, throw a heat pad on it for 10 minutes as a preventive caution. You can use it for all kinds of joints and different things. So think about what you're using heat for and what you're using ice for, and make sure you're just using them the way they need to be used, because they both have a purpose for them. Any questions on that?
Okay. So I'm not going to read through these, but these are all the different ways that essential oils and or nutrition can enhance in athletics.
Like, I remember like years ago, all the time when they would say, you had cramps, you use garlic. I don't see garlic, I'm serious, you know, for cramps. But then, why isn't there oil of garlic? I mean, maybe because of odor.
That's a really good question. The actual garlic oil is more of an herbal remedy, not an essential oil. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're going to see how well you guys paid attention or know your essential oils. So I haven't told you what this essential oil is, but just by reading it, do you know which essential oil this is?
lemongrass.
The blue diamond cannot answer.
Oh.
Yes, it's lemongrass. Okay.
How many of you use lemongrass? Almost everybody? If you haven't, it's one of those basics that if you're only going to get so many, lemongrass is one that you want to probably have all the time.
Most definitely.
Can't see what?
It does.
The
And
PowerPoint?
it's one of the less expensive oils. It's only $10. Okay, next one. That's right, deep blue.
How many have
Is that
never
better?
used Deep Blue before in the room? Anybody? Everybody has used it before? Right?
Very effective.
Yep, use it all the time.
Okay, next one.
Nope. That's as big as I can get it.
Peppermint, that's right.
Okay, hold on right here. We need some. Have you guys used, obviously used the self inhaler? Little drop on there and do that? Have you had the peppermint droplets before? Yeah, the peppermint droplets. Yeah, little beadlets, droplets, beadlets. Keep in there. Okay, so a couple months back, I went to Desert Oasis football team. So the whole football team came and we did a little thing on it where, what can they do to help them as a football players, right? And their biggest problem was what most people's problem when they work out is what?
Oxygen.
They don't get enough air, right? They don't get enough breathing. Kate was talking about, I heard that before. So we're going to throw a droplet of, what do you have in there, Cal? Bergamot?
It's bergamot and brie, yep.
And breathe? So you need to rub them together.
Peppermint, sorry.
Have anybody not done the self inhalers before? Okay. So what you're going to do is, as you get it, you're going to open it like this, and you're going to open your mouth and suck it in with your mouth as deep as you can and hold it for just a second. Let that go down into your lungs. Okay?
I like
And then
having
breathe
the
it out
tables.
slow.
I can get by fast.
Okay, and it'll probably hit you pretty hard. The second time I want you to do it though, is I want you to go only through your nose. As deep as you can through your nose, hold it just for a second, and then just breathe it out through your mouth, just nice and slow. See if that doesn't open up your nostrils, your lungs, your throat. Makes your eyes water a little bit.
Feel it in the back of my throat.
Yeah, it's very... Now, was there a difference between mouth or nose? Nose? Yeah, don't go wiping your eyes afterwards with that. That's like putting clove in your eye or
It's easier if you do it
something.
slower.
Yeah.
It's easier if you do it
Deep and slow. It lasts for a little while. So when I did this with the football players, they were amazed. They were like, oh, wow, I can totally breathe. So sometimes when my dad's working out with me or my mom, then if they start breathing pretty heavy and they can't get enough breath, they'll just stop, walk over because I have the oils right there. They'll throw one down and breathe real quick. A couple 10 seconds, 15 seconds later, they get back into their exercise and start paddling again because it opens up. One time we had a kid who is asthmatic playing baseball and he couldn't find his inhaler. So I had Breathe with me, a couple drops of Breathe, opened him up, he sat on the bench and he was able to breathe while having an attack. Don't know if it stopped the attack, but I know that it helped him and it could have him help breathe. So it was good to have that and know that at any point you can just throw a quick one in and breathe it and go. So if you have athletes or people who do sports and stuff and you just happen to have those little sample packets that you guys carry around, you keep breathing in there, you can throw that to them, show them to them, hand it to the mom or the person who's doing it. Say, here, keep this with you in case you're in an emergency, you don't have what you need, and you need a quick breath. Take that, and you can use that. So that's an easy and quick way to do something that gives immediate effects to people, where they can have an oil experience right away without even know they're having one.
And that was the,
That was peppermint and bergamot.
okay.
Bergamot was an oxygenator.
Okay, so then you're saying to breathe.
Breathe, peppermint, I just happen to have Breathe with me.
Okay.
So peppermint would do it too. If you have a beadlet, that does almost the same effect to it. You can just suck on that and go right away. So there's different ways to do that. Any questions on that?
Okay. Next one.
How many different ways do we have On Guard available? Right?
There you go, Sam.
Everything. Have you guys had an On Guard beadlet?
Yes.
No. Her brother had really bad cavity one time, and he can't afford to go to the dentist. So she gave him On Guard beadlets. And that was like an anesthetic right away. It just calmed that thing down right away until he get to it. It didn't take it away, obviously.
Well, he ended up having a hole in his tooth, so I don't know if the filling came out, and so he would just put a beadlet in the hole. didn't even bite it. He just let it absorb in there. And all throughout the day, as soon as it started again, he'd throw another beetlet in. He said that worked better than anything.
Wow. Does that have clothes?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'm sure he ended up going to the dentist by now, but he said that was really good for the pain. So that was On Guard. Next one.
Well, On Guard real quick.
Yeah, just that. I use that, I like that.
So we know that On Guard can be a cleaner too. We've used it as a cleaner. So it's a good way that if people have a little home gym or home equipment, you can spray it down all your equipment that way, and that way you can keep the infection out of that. So 'cause a lot of people use it, touch things, use it as that way too.
Okay, so yes.
She does that merciful. She works it.
Yeah.
But she's in a daycare, home and but she got it from them, and it's like,
Well, there's a lot of bacteria.
Make your own little hand sanitizer with On Guard to wherever you
Yeah.
go.
yeah.
So DigestZen, really important for athletes, right? A lot of nerves can cause a lot of digestive problems. And so it's really important to stay healthy digestive-wise. Next one.
There you go.
Melaleuca, really important for athlete's foot, right? So all kind of fungal problems are going on when you see a lot of sweat. So that's really important.
What did they say last night in our class? Somebody said for stinky feet? Was it eucalyptus?
Yeah.
Well, they did a spray, right? The stinky feet
Yeah.
spray. You can spray it in your gym bag in different places.
And that's in there too. The Shoe Refresher blend is in your handout. And I don't know if Barb is on this Periscope, but I do want to do a shout out to Barb because I used her initial PowerPoint. She has been working with athletes her whole life. She's actually been a professional bodybuilder, weightlifter,
Olympic.
and she actually works with high school students now in their athletics department, and she's got the high school where she's at using doTERRA as their fundraiser. Instead of selling candy bars, they're selling essential oils, and the proceeds are going to the high school boys, teams and stuff. So thanks, Barb. Okay, so these are just a quick list of all the essential oils that we can think of and products, because it's really important you have your nutrition as well that will aid an athlete either in performance, recovery, energy, even mood and anxiety type situations when you have to get your nerves. So all really important things. I even have TerraShield up there because a lot of sports are outdoors. And who wants to be worrying about the bugs, right?
Barb is on, and she said to tell you that her athletics with oils book is coming out in July.
Yes, she is writing the book. So we'll be looking forward to that. Thanks, Barb. So 2 basic key components in athletics. There's lots of key components, but 2 real basic ones. Any guesses? Besides nutrition and diet and exercise. We already covered those.
Mindset?
That's a very important key, not one of the ones I wrote down. Rest, very important. I didn't write that one down either.
I agree.
That's very important. That's so I said there's lots of keys. Okay. Balance. Okay. And flexibility. So who in our office can do that? I don't even think I can do a back bend anymore.
Ben,
So very important keys to athletics.
I saw you, Ben.
So when I start somebody working out, or I start again for the first time that I've done many times, or I start another person who has been gone for a while, I start with these on every single person, because if you don't have balance and mobility, it's hard to get going. It really hinders you. We go balance, flexibility, and core is the 3 that we start with every time. So we're going to do a little thing with you guys again. So that's why we have no tables and a little bit of spread room. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little balance exercise with you, okay? Just see where your equilibrium is. So if you'll stand up, it'll be very easy. Just give you an idea. A lot of us can just reach down, touch your toes, come back up, and that's no big deal, right? Yeah. Can you take your right hand, your right foot has to come off the ground, touch your left, and come back up and reach for the sky without the right foot touching. So it's on one foot.
Right leg and your right?
Right leg and right foot.
I used to. No.
Reach down and try to touch your ankle and come back up and reach up.
Is it okay to put it on a chair?
If you have to, but it just tells you where your balance is. You want to try that 3 times without ever touching. And if you have to look at a point, you can look at a point, you can look at a person. You want to reach down, right? You'll find that you start swaying back and forth, right? When you've done that 3 times, we're going to go the other side. Because we got to have that equal balance. No imbalances. So go left to right to up. One side tends to be easier than the other.
What do you do? Balance, you can't do it at all. Balance is totally off.
Okay, so that's what you say is that's what I need to start working on. That would be my first thing to do. So before you go running and working out weights, you start with balance. Very simple exercises with balance while you're working on. Okay?
Yeah, I can't do it on my right and my left side.
Right. It's until you have to left. So the easiest way to start a balance when you don't feel like you have any is to find a point somewhere away from you and just lift up your foot and you just need to hold it there. And if you can't do that, that's where you're going to have to start. Keep touching, go up, and just focus on what you are doing. Hold your core tight. Remember to breathe. Forget about the leg that's off the ground. You need to think of something else and let your mind go and just hold it.
You need
do
to
it the
hold
other
your
way.
arms out.
Absolutely, you can hold your
I
arms
can
out,
help.
whatever you need to do. With shoes, it is a little bit easier than without shoes
It's really hard with
Especially if you have something
heels.
supporting the ankle.
because you're going to feel all those little muscles in your legs, in your knee, in your joint moving because it's trying to hold you in a position to stay there. The muscles in your feet, you're going to feel all those little muscles start moving on you that you didn't even know you had. Try to balance yourself.
And one leg's a lot easier than the other.
Always, always. That shows your imbalance between the left and right sides and front to back
I
sides.
can't do anything, but this one I
The way the brain works, absolutely. So in my gym, I have these 2 that Kelly brought for us. These are called Bosu balls. They're just basically instability balls to try to do the same thing. Anybody want to try these? You want to try it?
I can do it, yeah, I got a messed up knee, but I can do it on this one.
So the first thing you do is you're just going to stand on there like Kelly's doing, and you just want to feel it move underneath your feet. Okay? And feel that it's unstable.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Good
So
job,
you can do this at
Tony.
like Sunset Park in the sand, where you're like, okay, I'm getting pretty good at this. You go to an unstable surface, and like, oh, okay, now I got to start to balance myself. You're standing there in the kitchen cooking. Start doing one-footed that doesn't work very well. Okay? You start doing both feet until you get on this. I've had my mom and dad both on these trying to do one-foot stuff, and they're falling all over the place. Everybody goes through that.
We
Okay?
have a little blue one with a little, you wanna know what I'm talking about, the little blue one, that works
Yeah.
good.
So
if
do
you
stuff
get
like
for a
that.
good one.
The other way to work on balance is just to, you can go ahead and sit down. I don't know if I have to keep on.
There must be a short in the cord, or the battery is dying.
I'll just
The
speak
battery
up.
is dying, sorry.
Another thing with balance is you want to make sure that the left and right, front and back are equal to each other. So if you're brushing your hair or doing your teeth, how many of us do it with the same hand every day, all the time? Switch. And you'll feel how uncoordinated you really are. You'll be like this, hitting your mouth and your face, and you're not getting it in there where you need to be. Do it. It makes your brain have to refocus and re-trigger on, okay, it's a simple act, but can I do it? You know what I mean? And it just makes your brain start to get more active, because a lot of times our brains aren't active enough. We just get into a rut that we keep going, and our brain doesn't have to think no more, because it's muscle memory.
Another way to balance your body is, especially for women, if you're always carrying your purse on your right side, carry it on the left side on the way home. So, you know, these muscles here in the shoulders can get out of balance, and get your whole gait off of balance. So you gotta, and that gives you back problems. So make sure you're balancing how you're carrying yourself.
What you want to try to do is we love the oils, we use them all the time, but I don't want to have to use them for illness if I can prevent them. And that's my biggest thing is, sure, I have Deep Blue. I'd rather not have to use Deep Blue if I don't have to, because I'm trying to be healthy about it. I'd rather not use lemongrass on my joints because my joints are healthy about it. When we talk about flexibility, all of us could use more flexibility in our lives and what we do, because we all sit too much or we drive too much or whatever. Just add a little bit of flexibility in your daily life, do it. So if you're going to bend down to get your purse, Don't bend down like this. Go straight legged, straight back, really try to, you know what I mean? And flex and bend and try to do that. I know it's something easy to do when you get out of the car or something. Put a stretch in there somewhere, okay?
But it's funny, my kids cannot even bend down and touch their toes at all. It's
Neither
like
can
they're
he.
flex, literally.
And it
my
takes
daughter's the
stretching
worst.
every single day to get to a point where you can do certain things
Yeah.
depending on your own physiology.
So like we did that little exercise, I'm gonna reach back and grab those. I'm gonna stay planted, reach back so that my spine can stretch and do it instead of turning around. Think of little things that you can do to get some stretching. After flexibility is core. We always start with core because everyone's core is usually weak. When I say core, what do you think of? Parts of the body. Everybody, stomach? Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better, right?
Yeah, this whole.
So the core is from just below your chest to right above your thigh, 360 degrees. That's the core. Your core is made up of that whole section. Everybody thinks stomach, but stomach's just the front part of it. We still got sides, we got back, we got to use our whole core. You need to build that first, and that'd be the best thing to do. So there's lots of exercise to build the core, but if you think about balance, stability, flexibility, and core, and start with that on just a daily routine, you're going to see an improvement in a lot of other things you can do.
Yoga takes care of all of those. Stability, balance, flexibility, and core.
Even just
So
the
yoga's a
simplest-
really good place
Yeah,
to start.
basic movement.
And you can start with real simple yoga poses.
And
It's
you
very
can
They're very hard.
get that on the, and I've never done anything or.
You can just put basic yoga, YouTube, it'll pull up on it,
They
you
have
can
a
follow
lady in the
one.
morning on TV too. I mean, but yeah, it's really, you can.
Yeah.
So, there's lots of things to do.
Okay.
You can throw some oil in a diffuser and diffuse it in the room while you're doing it.
That'd be great.
Little breathe and bergamot to just keep the oxygen going, and put on some nice music and just let your mind go and just do it. Really relaxing.
Okay, so popular uses for athletes. I'm just going to highlight a few of the different ways that we can use the essential oils on a regular basis for somebody, especially with us that have kids. So number one would be before a game. So, and I want you to think why we would choose these essential oils. Balance, Serenity, and Peppermint. Balance is going to help balance the mood, right? And also helps actually balance your body. So if you have a child or somebody learning a new sport, or maybe learning to ride a bike for the first time, or learning to walk as a toddler, balance will actually help their balance in learning this skill. So balance is key. Serenity for calming, and then Peppermint for energizing, get them pumped up, right? Next one would be post-workout. So this is not an injury, but something that you could do right after every workout that's going to help support the regeneration of your muscle and your body to relieve any kind of inflammation that might have been caused by the workout. Next one, muscle support. So maybe you need a little extra support, after you work out really hard, you've torn down those muscles, now they're sore. So this is really good for sore muscles. Of course, the aroma touch technique. If you have somebody in your home, or if you don't, if you can contact somebody within our doTERRA organization that knows this, works really well for athletes before and after. So
We did a whole football team one night.
we did.
Before
We went
the
over to that high school and
There's
he
about
talked to
10 tables. And
Yep.
told everybody,
All the way
and
around.
even the coach got one. Loved it. And of course, oxygen. So this is kind of what we did a little earlier. We used peppermint, but this is breathe and bergamot. Or you could even add peppermint, frankincense, or wild orange, depending on what you're trying to get out of that. And just the importance of oxygen it has to do in athletes, in athletics. And then, of course, the shoe refresher, right? Anybody who's in any kind of athletics has got to take care of those funguses and bacteria that grow in the shoes.
We're going to have to add that eucalyptus, right?
Yeah, now that we know that works, right?
On this, eucalyptus on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
to this.
Well, in our other class, there was a lady who had,
Her
her
husband.
husband had stinky feet. And they tried a lot of different oils. They tried Purify, they tried Melaleuca. He it was really bad stinky feet. And so he really likes the smell of eucalyptus. He started rubbing eucalyptus on his feet, and the stinky feet went away totally. So she's like, I don't know what if it was just his chemistry and the essential oil eucalyptus, but really worked for his stinky feet. So that's the end of the presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions for Brett or anyone else in the room on any particular things you guys are working on or have.
Yeah, he told them
struggling
about
with,
that.
Feel free to say otherwise.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, so I have a friend, she and another friend are going to the Grand Canyon. They're gonna hike all the way down to Phantom Ranch and back up. And it's not that she doesn't work out, but that's a very specific group of muscles. You're gonna work really hard one direction and then the other direction. Any suggestions?
I had, how old's Patty and Clay?
They're almost my age, so they're over 50, 55, 60.
Close to 60. I had a husband
Yeah,
and
they're
wife.
60.
They went to hike Machu Picchu,
Yep,
and so they trained with me for a year to get ready for that hike. So we did client-specific workouts, knowing that they were going to go hike mountains. So you would have to get to where you're isolating, what am I going to do? How can I mimic that same routine? How long is it going to be? And get my stamina up where I can do that. So you do specific things for that. And
I
that's-
know
that's
a
what
lot
we did.
of
So
marathon runners use basil and marjoram on their legs before they run. So that can help reduce any cramping during their run. So I'm thinking it might be the same with vigorous hiking. Something that's going to help support that muscle before they go.
when in doubt, though, core work, leg stamina, and stretching.
And lots of water. Hydration can cause.
And it's hydration before the event, not hydration during the event.
It's
Because
almost
by the
too
time
late
you're
by
thirsty
then,
and drinking,
right?
you're already dehydrated. You need to have it days before.
I had heard black pepper too, because it's warming.
Yep. A lot of, it actually is a warming oil. A lot of people put it on their extremities if they have cold feet or cold hands or circulation. And yeah, bringing the blood flow right to those areas. You're rubbing it on the calf muscles or the knees or wherever they think they're gonna need that support. Black
Well, and the
pepper.
opposite would be peppermint on a cool rag around your neck to keep you cool when you're getting too hot.
and
Great
it's easy,
questions.
it's easy to put it in a spray bottle, you know? So a lot of marathons, they actually, you know how they have the water stations? They actually have the oils there and spray their legs
Oh.
and spray their face.
So you could mix peppermint and water in one of those little bottles of
Right,
spray.
for that, but then the basil and marjoram and peppermint in a spray bottle too, to spray their legs and.
We use the peppermint in water during the summer for baseball games. The kids in the dugouts.
With a big bottle. So
Yeah,
if you
or
need
one of those ones with the fan on it,
Oh,
so then you get the double
as
cool.
long as you don't get in your eyes.
Right, we tell them, close your eyes, let me spray your face. They're good.
We always volunteer for the Ironman, the marathon, when they come up here and